Hello, this is Truman. Thanks for dropping in. Today we're going to be talking about dropper seat posts, how they work, and how you can figure out what size and kind of seat post you need for your bike. For the purposes of this video, we will be working from a point of either already having a bike with an existing dropper that you are looking to upgrade, or having a bike you'd like to ride that doesn't have a dropper post yet, but you'd like to add one. So grab your bike and let's get going. A dropper seat post allows a rider to have multiple seat positions. A dropper is actuated by a lever on the bar. Simply hold the lever, push down on the post, let go of the lever, and the post will stay down. To raise the post, push the lever again while standing up, and the post will extend to full ride height. Dropper posts are made up of an outer tube, the stanchion that actually does the dropping, a seal collar, the actuator, a saddle clamp, and often an airfill valve. These need to be checked periodically and kept at the recommended pressure. Pair that with a remote lever connected with a cable, hydraulic hose, or wireless technology, and you have a complete dropper system. Whether you're looking to swap out a current dropper post or you're looking to upgrade that rigid post, the process for selecting a new dropper is the same. We're going to be taking some measurements and doing some light math, so having something to jot those numbers down on is a great idea. We'll begin by measuring the ride height. This is the measurement from the top of your existing frame's seat collar to the rails of your saddle. If you have a dropper installed, make sure it is fully extended. You want this measurement to reflect how you normally ride at speed. Here we are getting a measurement of 220 millimeters. Jot that down. Next, loosen your seat post and measure your frame's max insertion. Max insertion is the maximum amount a post can be inserted into the seat tube without being interrupted. Interruptions include bottle cage bolts, bends in the tubing, or suspension linkage, just to name a few. The most effective way to do this is to insert a rigid post into the seat tube until it is interrupted. Make a mark, remove it, and take a measurement. If you currently have a dropper, you may need to remove it and install a rigid post. Here, we are getting a measurement of 230 millimeters. Some bike frame manufacturers have also started publishing this information. So, checking your bike manufacturer's website before you make this measurement can speed things along. Write down your frame's max insertion number. Now, we'll find the seat post diameter of your frame. The seat post diameter can be found a couple of different ways. With the post removed, you can look for the measurement listed on the side. The two most common sizes for dropper seat posts are 30.9 millimeters and 31.6 millimeters. If you have a different diameter, your choices of dropper posts may be limited. If your current post doesn't list its size, or you don't have a seat post yet, you can typically find this information on your frame manufacturer's website. Note, there are adapter shims that can be used to adapt a smaller diameter post to a larger diameter seat tube. Our seat post diameter on this bike is 30.9 millimeters. Make note of how the dropper post's housing will be routed on your bike's frame. Some bikes have internal routing that may enter and exit different tubes of the frame, while other frames will only allow for external routing. Some will be routed completely internally with a guided tube, and others will need some help routing internally with a tool like the Park Tool IR 1.3. And of course, some need no routing at all. The type of cable routing your bike has will help narrow down which dropper posts are compatible with your bike. They'll also help you prepare for the installation process. With our ride height, max insertion, and seat post diameter numbers in hand, we can start the search for our new dropper post. We can't precisely guide you through this process. You'll need to check reviews and look at what your friends and favorite riders use to start getting an idea of what you might want out of a dropper post. A good way to narrow the field is to start by looking at posts that will work with your seat post diameter and frame's cable routing style. Once we have a few potential posts picked out, we start looking at its stack height and max insertion measurements. Searching for a dropper post is all about making sure that the dropper post will work with your bike and with you. Your new dropper post should be able to insert into your bike frame and offer up the correct ride height along with the amount of drop that you desire. Let's take a look at what that means. In this example, we insert the post into the frame, clunk. That's as far down as this goes before it hits this interruption. Now let's take a measurement. .275. That's well above our desired ride height. This post will not work for us. And in this example, we're going to insert our seat post into the frame here, and we try to drop it down to our ride height, and our seal collar bottomed out on our seat collar before we were able to get down to our desired ride height. So this post will not work. So we need to find the balance. To determine if a post will fit your bike, first find the post's stack height and its max insertion measurements. These measurements should be listed on the manufacturer's website. Write down the stack height and max insertion measurements as you find them. Our first fit test. Stack height is a dropper's measurement from the post's saddle rails to the bottom of the dropper's own seal collar. Your potential post's stack height has to be equal to or less than your bike's ride height. So if you find a potential post and the stack height is larger than your ride height, like this one from SDG, you'll have to keep searching. This potential post from 1UP has a stack height of 183 millimeters, which is less than our frame's ride height. So this post passes the first fit test. Once we know our post's stack height, we can start to figure out if the post will insert far enough into the frame without interference to provide us with the correct ride height. We do this by subtracting our stack height from our ride height, and it gives us a number that we've been calling the dropper lower difference. In an ideal world, the collar of the post would sit down against your seat collar. This is obviously very rare, and more than likely, you'll have a little bit of post sticking out. Back to our search and onto some math. We're gonna take our ride height, 220, minus our stack height, which is 183, and that leaves us with 37 millimeters. 37 millimeters represents the amount of exterior tube that's going to be sticking outside of the bike. That is our dropper lower difference. Take your dropper lower difference and subtract it from your potential post's max insertion number. That'll give you how much that post will be inserted into the bike frame. It must be equal to or less than your bike's max insertion number. With the live that we've been searching for a post for, the amount of post that needs to be inserted into the bike is in fact less than our bike's max insertion number. And we have that potential post right here, brand new, and we're gonna throw it in and show you. And look at that. The math checks out. It's a perfect fit. Take a look at this Rocky Mountain Instinct. It has a seat post diameter of 30.9 millimeters and features internal routing. We have a ride height of 280 millimeters and a max seat post insertion of 280 millimeters. The potential post we're looking at is the Bike Yoke Revive. It has a stack height of 255 millimeters, which is less than our ride height, and a max insertion of 327 millimeters. We calculate our dropper lower difference, which is our bike's ride height minus our potential post stack height, and then we subtract the dropper lower difference from our potential post's max insertion. And we can see that the amount of post we need to insert is longer than our bike frame can handle. So we'll need to keep looking. Our next potential post is the 1UP V2 with 210 millimeters of travel. It has a stack height of 243 millimeters, less than our ride height, and a max insertion of 297 millimeters. We calculate our dropper lower difference, and then we subtract the dropper lower difference from our potential post's max insertion to determine how much post will need to go into our bike. And we see that the amount of post we need to insert, 260 millimeters, is in fact smaller than our bike's max insertion of 280. So this post will fit. So that's the basics of dropper post sizing and compatibility. We really hope that this video helped you. But if you're still frustrated, there's a lot of great resources out there. Like the 1UP Components website. It has an excellent calculator that'll help you find the seat post for you. Or there's a parktool.com. There's a lot of great articles for you to comb through to figure out what dropper post you need. And if you're still pulling your hair out with frustration, don't hesitate to stop at your local bike shop. They would love to help find the correct post for you. We hope this video helped you get low, so you can drop down below and leave us a comment. We would love to hear what you're riding.